Hey everyone, welcome. This is Marilyn Shannon, and welcome to the Breaking Free Show today. I hope you're all doing really spiffy. And I don't know about you, but it's awfully warm here. We're having one of those warm spells. So if you start seeing my bangs flip, you'll know why. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's an honor to have you. And I know, as I say each and every week, that I know your time is precious. So thank you for sharing it with us. And before we get started with our guests, I want to say hi to Amnon.
Hello, Marilyn.
Hi, Amnon.
Are you still hot in here?
Nope. Comfy,
Okay.
comfy.
Oh,
But
good.
do not make a 64-year-old woman hot. I will tell you. It goes like this constantly. So you got to be good to me. You doing all right?
Doing just fine, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody good?
Everybody's good.
Good, 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 good. So, if you joined me last week, you know that I kind of broached the subject about my very dear friend who also had a show on our channel, Debbie Bruck, who passed away, and she was my best friend. And so I'm not going to get all sappy, but it made me start to think about the time we spend with people, the friendships we make, how we make friends, how we keep friends. And it just, I know my mother is 92 years old. She's going to be 93. And I'm going to tell you what, that lady's got a lot of friends. Now, she didn't work. She was a stay-at-home mother, so she did work that way. I'm not putting that down at all because I don't know if I could do it. But she has so many friends, and she's a good friend. And I've kind of been reflecting in the last little bit about friendship. And I think it's worth, I know it's worth talking about. Whether you are a busy professional, you got time on your hands, it doesn't matter. I know this is a busy, crazy world we live in. And I'm, just kind of want to talk about this. I think it's important in our holistic way of living. Are we making friends? Because friends are so important to our life every day. A friend is somebody special. And, that brings me to the title of the show, Breaking Free. In order to experience freedom, we got to talk about all kinds of things. Sometimes we talk about business things. Sometimes we talk about food. Sometimes we talk about something educational, inspiring. We have people on that talk about a tool, a technique, a strategy. We talk about hardcore subjects where people have gone through hardcore things but have broken free. So friendship, that is another piece of feeling our freedom, feeling inspired. And so I had the pleasure last week of being on a podcast with my friend Jess, who I met on Google Plus. I don't even know when, I don't even know how, but I did. And she's great. And she invited my mother, who's 92, and I on to join her and her mom and another daughter and mother team. And we had this wonderful conversation about mothers and daughters and, with Mother's Day approaching. And so I was talking to her afterwards and we started talking about friendship because I know she's busy and I know she's a mom. I know she's a wife. I know she does a lot of things. And I asked her about friendships and it got me to thinking today's a good day to talk about it. So let me introduce Jess to all of you. Hey, Jess.
Hello. Thank you for having me back on the Breaking Free Show, Marilyn.
It is a pleasure to have you here. You are a sweet, sweet, sweet lady, and I love you.
Mwah! I love you too, Marilyn. I have no idea when we met either. I was thinking about that. I don't know. I just know we did, and here we are.
Yeah, and I think, we talk a lot about social media in all aspects. Mm-hmm. And so that's, here we are. We're friends. We've connected. We're connected through other people. I've connected you to somebody very dear to me who lives near you. I mean, you can create these relationships, but I think it's an important conversation to have. But before we go into that, just tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm Jess Dewell, and I am the founder of Red Direction, where we build frameworks for a culture of resiliency in businesses. And one of the things I like about the Breaking Free Show is that we talk about freedom when we're here. And Marilyn touches on some important pieces of this every single week and how we show up for ourselves, and then how we become the stewards of the role that we play within the organization that we choose to go to every single day. Makes a big difference in the fulfillment and the outcomes and the impact that the business itself can have. And that's what we're doing over at Red Direction.
Good. Perfect. So just as a reminder, please feel free. You can call in anytime you like, 919-518-9773. That will come into the studio. Anybody can call in with a question, a comment, a statement, anything. Or you can join us on Skype at computers, that's plural, the number 2K voice, computers 2K voice. Also, you'll come in on Skype, no video, just voice. And then we also have a chat. You're welcome to join in there as well. Just, you'll see the video, put your name right under there. You can put your nickname, I don't care. And just ask questions, comment, whatever you like in there as well. We'd love to have you engage with our conversation so that this is a big conversation and it includes all of us. So let's get right to it. Okay, Jess?
I think that's great.
Okay.
I think friendship is a hardcore topic. It's a hardcore heart topic.
Is it a hard topic for you?
I don't think it's hard for me as much as it's delicate. And there's a lot of tenderness and space that I know I have to give myself around the topic.
So it's delicate. That's a really good word. Why?
I think, well, okay, so you're right. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, I'm a Girl Scout leader. I volunteer in every way, shape I can. And I go out of my way to make sure that the people that are closest to me and that I'm connected to in my neighborhood and local social sphere have a connection to me. And then, there's this thing called, first saying no, right? So how would somebody want to be friendly with me or maybe even be my friend if I'm not available, not only all the time, I'm not available all the time. So I struggle with that. And then during the intro, I was like, Marilyn, you're right. You introduced somebody to me that lives here locally, and we see each other 3 or 4 times a year. And we pick up where we left off, and we have a great time when we connect, whether it's text or in person, and we go out and have a girls' night. And she's busier than I am and doing more things than I do. And we still really connect. And you and I have never met in person. No. And I was thinking about that too. Here we go. We have these phone conversations. Yeah. We can connect by text. We can call each other up. And I feel very close to you, even though we've never met in person. And so I think we might have to redefine our definition of friendship. So maybe it doesn't have to be so delicate.
Interesting. Because I was just thinking to myself, I don't know you from the neck down.
I know. And I can't even show you because today I'm barefoot.
I do not know you from the neck down. Isn't that the bizarrest thing? I mean, seriously, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's interesting because we are redefining friendship. And maybe I'm looking at it in the old way because I'm thinking, my friend Debbie was my best friend. Mm-hmm. But we never went out to dinner. We never went out to lunch. We never went to the movies. We never did those things. She was an Orthodox Jewish woman who I loved dearly, had great conversations with her. And we never just did those kinds of things that I remember girlfriends doing, going on a girls' weekend. Didn't do it. And so I'm just digging here and I've been asking people too, do you take time for friendships? Not just friendships, or maybe so. Maybe we don't need best friends. Or do we? I mean, I don't know. I'm just really curious. I don't know. Is having friends enough? Is that enough is it casual acquaintances? What is it?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm sure my husband will love me talking about him. But it's part of it. A lot of people, and you see like jewelry commercials, okay? So for those of you who watch any sort of jewelry or see the video commercials on the website you go to, what are they doing? They're saying, buy a diamond and propose to your best friend or get your best friend her anniversary gift. And I was thinking about that. And it's maybe been about 10 years now, I fired Ryan from being my best friend. And the reason I did that was because I want him to be my lover. I want him to be my partner in life. And I want him to show up and be him. And I can't talk to him about him all the time. That's just not good. And he can't talk to me about me all the time. And that really strains a relationship. So when you say, do we have to have a best friend? I don't know. I do think we have levels of trust in different friendships and people that we can connect with in different ways to have relationships, because sometimes we've just got to vent. And I know my husband, he is a fixer, he's a problem solver, and he immediately wants to make it better. And sometimes I just need to talk about it. And so I was like, why? I don't need to talk to you about this. I'll go find somebody else to talk to about this.
So is that because he's a man? And is that because he's a man? And we're gonna get Amnon in this too, because
I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, because if you were gay,
Sure.
with a woman, would that be different?
I don't think so. I don't think I would want to talk about my partner in life, my wife, my husband, my significant other to that person all the time. It puts an undue burden on them. And then it comes back. And depending on their stress and their situations and how they were raised and the responses that they have when they become defensive, it's not even worth that to me. My goal is not to make my husband defensive or my best friend defensive. I just want to be able to talk a truth.
All right, y'all out there.
Yeah.
We need some more people to call. Not need. We invite you to call because
notice where we went right away. Relationships.
Here
we go.
Yeah, because more perspectives are necessary for this conversation. 919-518-9773 or computers. That's plural 2K voice, the number 2K voice. And then our chat is open. You're welcome to join us in there. Love to hear your perspective about friendships. I mean, how valuable is it to you to have a best friend or, BFF or close buddies or confidant? Or is that person your mother, your sister? Who is that? Why does it matter today? And I know I'm shooting off a lot of questions because I'm thinking about all these things. They're like a statement. What does it matter more today than ever? Because I feel like I want to slow down and a little bit in some ways. And I don't even know if I like slowing down because I haven't been 100% myself either lately. And so slowing down doesn't feel good either because I'm not Speedy Gonzalez, but I'm active. And so I've kind of been slower, and that's kind of having to recalibrate myself. So, I just wonder, do we, where do we place friendships in our lives?
I'm going to make a comment because it's an observation.
Good, because you're smart. I need comments.
Comments and observations, and maybe we'll spur somebody to join us and add perspective. Another thing that I'm seeing, so for example, a lot of the women that I know, whether they are working in an organization or they are leading their own business of multiple people or just themselves, they look to professional networking to find friends. And then those friends become people that we work with and or network with.
Yes.
And we only see them in a certain kind of setting. And I've always been curious because if I'm this is me personally, if I'm in a professional setting, I don't want to talk about my lover. I don't really want to talk about my kids. I have a job to do while I'm there. And my job is to find the connections to help my clients, to help the people that I know, and to help the new people that I'm meeting make the right business connections to further themselves. So I go in with this mindset. Sometimes we have great conversations and, we're just talking. We'll grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine, or whatever type of event it is, and we'll sit around and who knows what will come up, because relationships always do in some capacity. But I know for me personally, my intention is not to go to a networking event to make a friend.
Right.
I don't know where I go to make friends.
Maybe it's funny. It's not funny, but it is funny because it is funny because people say, they go to bars because they want to date. You get online because people want relationships. They want, a significant other. But where do you go to make a friend? Or is it assumed that when you reach a certain age, you already have all your friends? But that's not true either.
I don't think that's true either. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you go to make friends? And I know it's got to be different because my husband doesn't have that many friends. He doesn't have any friends. His friends are people that I bring over. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that he will talk to, communicate with, but he doesn't have just guy friends.
Right. Neither does my husband, actually. As couples will do things, and you're right. I will initiate that. typically. And he has a very small circle, and I think there are 3 of us in that small circle: his friend Matt, me, and our son. And I could be wrong, and it could be a few more, but I know it's a small, tight circle of loyalty. And that's where I don't know if it's safety, I don't know if it's trust, I don't know what it is. Because if you look at me, I tell strangers more than he wants me to talk about him. So I'm like, in the course of doing conversations and meeting people in context, I will bring something up and I will share, right? And I come home and I tell that story, I'll relay, and he's like, you said, what about me? And I was like, it's a total stranger. They're never going to meet you, and they're probably never going to see me again. It was right for the moment. And he's like, oh, man. So it's really interesting how much we're also willing to share to be able to, I don't know if it's to make a connection or to have a fulfilling moment, but the difference in our perspective and outlook. And that maybe that's, I don't know, I'm curious. Amnon, do you have a lot of friends?
Do you have male friends, girlfriends that are friends?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean,
but that you consider
as we grow older,
yeah,
I don't know if you say weed them out. It's not
well,
the right word.
No,
it's not the right word because you don't choose to do it.
Time for
you
less.
don't have time to go out. So,
but do you have people that you will just call on the phone and say hi to, and
oh yeah, I mean
that are friends of yours?
Yeah,
men or women or both?
Both.
Both. You have women friends that you will just call and shoot the time. It wasn't exactly.
Well, I don't know that. No. I mean, I don't.
Okay, but male friends that it's not your family,
right?
Okay, and so tell me, are these people that you have known for a long time?
Yeah,
these are people you've known for a long time. Business related or just friendship related? Just plain friends?
It always started as business. Because I'm married to my business.
Right.
So everything I used to go out to do was business.
So these people have become your friends through business.
Yeah.
I think that's where you find them. Mm-hmm. Like-minded people.
Something in common already?
Huh?
Because you have something in common already?
Yeah, like-minded people tend to attract like-minded people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is an interesting place to look.
Mm-hmm.
I think friendships, I think it matters. There I go, think again. It matters. I mean, if it's a good friend, friends matter. Because a best friend is going to be somebody who is encouraging, right? Somebody who sees you and your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's encouraging, sees you at your worth, loves you, is there in your best interest.
Yes. And Scott, the producer of the Voice of Bold Business Radio program, he says truth to power. So both sides of that. Love ya and the encouraging because it's great to hear, and the love ya because it's necessary to say to get to the encouraging part, if that makes sense.
No. Explain it a little bit more.
Oh, well, one of the things I value in my friendships is the truth of, that was really crazy, Jess. Or, you've got spinach in your teeth. Or, you've got one button in the wrong place undone in your shirt. Get that fixed.
Right.
So the things that will help prevent embarrassment, but also things that are hard to tell somebody that you wouldn't just, and I shouldn't say wouldn't, I would. What I have encountered is most people won't speak up about. Oh, we're going to tell you how good you did, even though you did really not so good, because if you just keep doing it, you'll get better. Well, there's an assumption in that. So I want friends that will also tell me, Jess, got the intention, understood what was going on, and you missed the mark in my eyes, and here's why.
So is that the difference between a friend and a best friend? I have lots of friends.
Yeah.
That I could say, oh, you want to have lunch with me, or, let's whatever. I have lots of friends.
Yeah.
But then there's that next piece, the next level which I think becomes your like best BFF, your best friends, right? Is that the friend that you don't even have to talk to? You could just like you just nod, it's the same thing, and that you see or can tell you that you fucked. Oh, sorry, you made a mistake. Sorry, you made a mistake. Well, I could say it right, go because nobody's gonna care. But you messed up, or that your tag, your tag is out, or things like that that you can really, really, really confide in, cry to. What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't
Isn't
know.
that interesting that we don't know?
Yeah, I think so.
I would love to take a poll right now, if I could, of all the people out here that are listening that can say you have a best friend. And aside from maybe but now I've just finished doing my twin book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I just got it back from the editor. So I have to go through that part, which is scary in itself, but that's what authors have to go through. I can't tell you how many of my twins are best friends with their twin. And that's like best friends. Like they just unspoken words, can travel together, can live, can do everything together and just be like immersed in each other's lives. And I just can't even imagine that. So I'm curious, of all the people out there, those of you that are listening now, can you say that you have a best friend? I mean, I wish you'd all just like kind of come into the chat and tell me. I would love to know. Write me, Marilyn@MarilynShannon.com. Tell me, what's your definition of a best friend? And do you have one? And if you don't have one, why? Why? I'm asking myself the same thing. I mean, Debbie was my best friend, but I don't have a lot of best friends. Do I need more than one? Now, why don't we have those?
Yeah, I'm counting on my fingers, and I've got 4 people that I would go to for a variety of things. I would tell my husband anything. I just don't think he wants to hear everything I have to tell,
Right. All those girly things.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
Are you talking about the girly things?
Yeah. And then I have 2 girlfriends that I would say as young adults and into our adulthood, while we're not necessarily in touch often.
Yeah.
We always pick up exactly where we left off.
Right.
And we can ask anything of each other. And then I suppose I could add I haven't mentioned the 4th one, which is, of all things, my dad. Really? He and my husband would be like.
Your dad is a best buddy?
He falls into this category. I can call him up with any problem I need, and he will drop whatever it is and make sure I get the help, the knowledge, the information that I need. Has always been that my whole life. And so I can always call him up. And I remember he's also a chatterbox like I am, Marilyn. And so I've been married 18 years now. And it cracks me up because my dad would call and Ryan would go, I'm out. I'll see you in a couple of hours. And he'd go run errands. He'd do something. And I'd still be on the phone with my dad when he got back. So he fits in that close circle, even though he might not be a best friend. He's got elements of what I would say are part of best friend.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've made the assumption, tell me if I'm wrong, that women who have a really good relationship with their fathers have a healthy relationship with men and vice versa. Men that have a healthy relationship with their mothers, healthy. We're talking healthy. We're not talking about not healthy. We're talking about healthy relationship with their mothers, just like a healthy relationship, a woman with their father, have a good relationship, healthy relationships with women.
I guess it could help.
Well, it can't hurt.
I was going to say, there are a lot of things that can hurt, and I don't think that's one of them.
Right.
I definitely think there's a place for that. And it's interesting because I'm looking at the people that I was talking about, right? My dad included, and there are traits that I know make me what? Maybe make me feel safe, make me feel loved, make me feel worthwhile. And
It's just,
and
yeah, it's interesting. And
yeah, when they're present, I tend to have, I mean, I become fast
but
friends.
aren't
I
you
guess
secure with men? Have you been
yeah.
secure with men? Okay, maybe
No,
that's,
actually I would say no, I am not.
you're not secure with men. Even
Mm-mm.
though you have this father, male image, who's been, comfortable, more than comfortable for you.
Sure. Yes. Hmm.
You would say you don't have a secure attitude around with men.
I would say no,
Hmm.
I don't. And that's interesting.
It is. It is.
I mean, it took me a really long time to feel secure, even with Ryan. So,
It is.
yeah.
I made that up, but I think that
Okay.
and if I had time, I would look for the data because I would think that there is some data backing that up.
What
But
about you? How was your relationship with, your dad? I know you have a great relationship with your mom.
yeah,
And did that impact your relationship with your husband?
absolutely. My
Yeah.
father, I mean, and he should rest in peace, was very good to me in many, 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 many ways. But he also scared me in many ways.
Mm.
So I did not grow up secure around men. Hence why my first book was about men. Because,
Interesting.
yeah, because I wasn't comfortable with men. I mean, I
Hmm.
liked men, but I wasn't comfortable. I didn't feel good around men. I felt, intimidated, I guess you could say. And so when I started to coach and into my coaching practice, not just starting, I started reflecting back and realized, wow, look at all the men I'm coaching and how cool they are. And I didn't know it. And I thought, wow, is this really how men are? Well, if I thought that, then I wanted to expose,
The great pieces. Yeah.
the great pieces of men. And
Hmm.
so that's hence why I wrote the first book focusing on men. But no, and I did not have great role models as men. I
That's
mean,
interesting.
there were pieces of them.
Hmm.
They were strong. They took care of their
Yeah.
families. They were loyal. I mean, there were things that were
Hmm.
great, but then there were things that were not so comfortable.
Right. And I think it also, it depends on, I wonder how much it depends on the relationship and the interaction between um, significant others, because I could say this for two moms or two dads also. Uh, at least ask the question of every group is that if it's not a healthy interaction in some capacity, does that change what we think our definition of having a friend is and who our confidant might be? Because I can tell you, everybody that I can confide in
Mhm.
are people that, in some capacity, make me feel safe, that I
Mhm.
think I can count on, that I
Yeah.
know, you know, when everything goes crazy, whatever that crazy looks like, even if it's not crazy from the outside, it's all inside head
Yeah.
crazy
Now
because we all go through that,
so
right?
here's a thought. Okay.
Okay.
Bringing us kind of around in this discussion.
Yeah.
People will say that people share too much on social media.
Mm,
Okay. Is
yep.
that because we don't have those friends? Everybody, I mean,
Mm,
I have 1,000 plus friends on Facebook. I don't want to share everything, but there are people who do share a lot of things on Facebook or wherever. Do you think that's because we don't have that level of relationship that people used to take the time to develop? It takes time to develop friends. It takes work in some regard. I mean, for me, I have my husband, I have all my work projects, which are numerous and many. I have my children, my grandchildren. I have, eating healthy, exercising as a big piece of my life. the show. I mean, I have a lot of things that take up time to develop. To be a really good friend, I have to spend time.
Hmm.
So is that level, and I'm not alone. There are a lot of women and men out here that are just have we have to work. We have to pay the insurance bill. So are we missing that level? And that's why people are out there on social media sharing all.
Well, that brings up the word intimacy to me, right? I mean, the things that I share that Ryan thinks he can't believe I'm telling complete strangers this much about my life. I'm like, that stuff doesn't matter to me. I share the stuff that doesn't matter to me more easily than the stuff that does. Those heart issues, the hardcore self-reflection, relationship, personal development, all of that stuff becomes front and center for me. And that not very many people know about that for me, but I know a lot of stuff and I'm willing to talk about a lot of stuff and I'm willing to share experiences. And I have a pretty, I don't know what boundary is not the right word, but something like that. My willingness to share is pretty open. Yet when it comes to social media, it's really interesting because I don't share a lot. Did I hear you say you don't share a lot?
No, I don't share really intimate details. Like I don't like yesterday I said I was looking on Facebook and all these people were posting pictures of, in Mother's Day pictures, with their children, their grandchildren, whatever. And I went, I didn't do that. And then because I didn't think of doing it. Now, would it have been nice for people to see it? Yeah. And then I stop and think for a second, but do I want to put my grandbaby's pictures on? I'm not so sure I want to sometimes. And I'm not one of those people who are scared about things like that. But then I think, I don't know about that. So I don't even think about it.
That's interesting. I don't think about it anymore. I know we had to go through a learning process. Because so the internet in my lifetime, the internet and social media has become prevalent and it didn't start in my life like my nieces and nephews and my son. They have social media from the time that they were born. And I find that very interesting because we have made a conscious choice in our house that it is not our job, nor is it our right to give a social media profile to our child. And that's a pretty strong statement in the realm of sharing pictures, and it's easy to get information, and there's all this stuff that you want to share and stay in touch. And there are very few pictures of all of us on the internet. Well, you and I are both on the internet all the time. So for me, it's like, well, I'm already there. I don't think about doing anything extra. Two, we made that conscious choice because we don't know what technology is going to be like. And if I'm grouchy about something and I go and I post something, or I'm super happy, or I post a picture that might become embarrassing or be able to be misread later on, is that really my right? And if it was my friend, would I do it to my friend? And so I'm taking, and it's interesting because I don't know if they're the same for everybody. For me, I'm like, no, I'm not going to just go post pictures of my friends, just random things that I picked up. That's their story. It's up to them. And I think that's a good
boundary.
It's a good boundary. It's not my story to tell.
Yeah. It's a good boundary.
And it's hard because with everybody on social media, all of my colleagues and connections and friends around the world, all of our family, geographically dispersed, is very interested in knowing what's going on in our family. And I'm like,
I think that you have something to say.
You were saying that you are not afraid of that.
I'm not, but I think about it.
That's not afraid.
Okay, what is it?
A, is being cautious.
Okay.
Yes.
And B, it's very responsible not to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, you put it on the internet.
It stays there forever.
And a minute later, you go and you delete it. No. It's there. And it will come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, I notice that when my children are posting pictures of my grandchildren, there's no share button. So they're all being a little,
I mean,
cautious.
Your family wants to see the kids and all that.
Yeah.
Email them pictures. email it to them. It goes from point A to point B, and even then, there
You're
may
right.
be a
You're right.
situation, but nobody's interested in that.
You're right.
It's,
You're right.
You're
You're right.
there.
You're right.
And
You're right.
calling is that's the best way. Yeah, call.
Well, see, okay, so so it's interesting because you said you have friends all over the world, right?
I do.
I have friends all over the world. You now have friends all over the world, right? Does that take the place? I don't think it takes the place of a person you can just hang out with on a Saturday.
I agree with you. I agree because and because I don't want to spend all my time on my computer. As much as I love this medium,
Oh, yeah.
as much as we get to see this, from the waist up, right? We get to know what each other looks like and our mannerisms. This place, no, it's not the same as being able to sit on the front porch and have a cup of tea or have a glass of wine in the afternoon. Yeah, not the same.
No, it's not the same.
The marketing here is the key.
What do you mean?
They came up with friends. I've got friends. No, these are not friends. These are just people that.
Well, they can be. Like Jess and I met.
But you have to remember, if they are, even if you have a friend in California,
right,
or a friend in Charlotte, this friend has their own friends that they go and sit on the porch and they meet and all that. So you don't sit there and you just day in and day out with that friend. That's pitiful.
Right. So do you agree about the difference in the level degree of friendship, that it's really having a close friends that you can see and go out with and talk to is
there are. That's why you call best friend,
right?
And you have friends, and then you have colleagues, and you have acquaintances.
Right. Well,
but it's easier to say, oh yeah, friend. Oh yeah, friend. It's just like on Facebook. Yeah, look at all these friends I have.
I think
no,
things,
you don't.
I think in that regard, things get a little diluted.
They do. And you know who first told me this? Okay, so I knew I had some close friends. I didn't know anybody in my neighborhood when I lived in Washington. In fact, we were there for 18 years, and I could tell you my neighbors' names, but I couldn't tell you what kind of beer they drank or if they drank beer at all, if they grew their own garden, or if they even ate organic food. I couldn't tell you anything about them. I could tell you what I saw from waving at them in the car and seeing what they did in their yard. And this wonderful woman, her name is Sue Mackey, she has had, even though it was a very brief time, a very profound impact on my life, because she said, Jess, you're a mom. Jess, you are a business person. Jess, you are a wife. And what are you going to do when? What are you going to do when? And one of the things was, what are you going to do when you're held up in traffic because everything is stopped and your son needs picked up from school? What are you going to do when your husband is out of town and your son gets sick and you happen to be in town? What are you going to do when you get a flat tire and there's someplace for you to be? What are you going to do when you don't have time to go to the grocery store? What do you do when life situation questions? And all of us will say, oh, I've got friends. But when we actually looked at it, this was not that long ago. My son is 7. He was probably 2, 3 maybe when I was having these conversations with Sue Mackey. And it was really hard for me to look at. And this is when my definition of friend changed. I actually in time was like, oh, okay. I've between my husband and I, we can cover a lot of stuff. We can't cover everything. Where's our safety net? And one of the things that turned out that she was working on at the time was a website called Personal Safety Nets. I think it's personalsafetynets.com. We can double check. It's either .com or .net. And it's this whole thing, and it breaks it down into 8 pillars from the very, what do you believe? And do you want to hang out with people that you believe the same with or different than? All the way to, how do you plan your career? And what if the absolute worst were going to happen? What kind of a mess do you want to leave? Or how much less of a mess can you make? And can you clean up your messes that you've made in life so far and change direction? And so it's all about skills, and it's actually also about resilience. It's about personal resilience and the skills that you need to do that. And that actually shaped, when we moved to Boulder, Colorado, that shaped how I looked at different things and my neighborhood and my intentions that I thought were going to be my intentions here to what actually needed to happen so that we have a personal safety net. Mm-hmm. And I consider friends to be part of that. So my best friend doesn't have to be local, but I do need people that I trust in some capacity. And I associate trust as a core trait of friendship in general. There's got to be some level of trust there.
Yeah. So, okay, so you just said really your best friend. Do you have a best friend?
I do.
Okay. And that's not local?
No.
Okay.
And in fact, I would say I have two, and neither one of them are local.
Okay. And how do they earn the role of best friend?
When we were local,
okay,
right?
Okay, so gotcha.
We had a local. I think that's a great question. In my case, it was we were local. We had physical contact, yes, with each other in each other's day-to-day life. Yeah.
Okay. And I think, just like a lot of things, we're finding our way back to some basic life.
Keep going. What?
Right?
Tell me.
Life is shifting in many, many ways, and we're finding our ways back to the things that matter most, back to, the neighborhood, back to Mayberry, back to the things that matter most. And I think friendship, and I know I keep saying think, because I'm not sure. This is profound, and it's hard to put it all into the exact words that I want. But friendship, best friends, hanging out with girlfriends and guys hanging out with guy friends and all this stuff. I think that it's one of those things that we're reflecting and going to find that we will want those friends, those kinds of friends again that we had when maybe we were growing up and we had a best friend in the neighborhood that was sleeping over, that we slept at their house, they slept at our house, we ate at their house, they ate at our house. It was, you didn't even have to hardly ask, they were there. I think it's one of those things that are going along with the getting back to basics.
I'm going to tell you, I think it's great you're saying, I think, because I know when I speak, I remove a lot of those words. And so people tend to believe there's this certain thing going on. And I learned from a very young age, I talk to think. And so until I say it out loud, I don't even know if I like the idea or not.
Yeah, because a lot of times, if you see me stand up in front of a room, I hardly ever say I never say I think. But there are times where I'm just not sure.
And I'm not sure a lot
I'm
of the
not
time
sure.
until we start talking. And I am comfortable saying, here's what's on my brain. And I'm ready. And this is another thing about, I guess I give everybody a pass at a certain level. And I'm like, I hope you say if you don't agree. I hope if there's a big hole, you speak up. And maybe that's putting a lot of hope in the wrong places because it's all out of my control. For me, though, it doesn't matter how much I read until I formulate it into words and thoughts and phrases and actually have a conversation like we're doing right now, Marilyn. I don't know if I believe it. I can think it all I want. I can say it all I want until it gets developed. And then it's like, it locks in.
When my mother had best friends, they would shop for each other. If my mother saw something that her friend Harriet liked, she would buy it. If Harriet saw something that she thought my mother would like, she would buy it. Or they would exchange jewelry for a party or stuff like that. They would do those kinds of things. And I think that there's something about today's world that we need those kinds of relationships. And here's a quote that I found on Google, of course, or somewhere. Friends are medicine for a wounded heart and vitamin for a hopeful soul. And that is from Steve Maraboli.
Will you read it again?
Yeah. Friends are medicine for a wounded heart and vitamins for a hopeful soul.
That's beautiful.
Don't you think that's lovely?
It is lovely.
Here's another one. Friends are angels that lift us to our feet when our wings have trouble remembering how to fly.
That's speaking my language.
Yeah. So why are friends? Why do friends? What role do friends play, or best friend plays that are And I know what you said about your husband and stuff, but would your husband pick you up?
Of course.
Okay.
And that's the thing to me. And that's where, in a way, I would say he is my best friend. I just don't want to tell him, I just don't want to talk about things that create undue burden or undue worry or make him go into this problem solving mode that is going to stress him out. And that's what I mean when I say I fired him as my best friend. It's like the things that I really need to talk about sometimes, I just need to talk about. I need to get an outside perspective. Yeah. And he doesn't have the perspective. And that's okay. And I'm comfortable. It took me a long time to learn that. And I'm comfortable with that. I need a different kind of perspective sometimes. But yes, absolutely. Not only would he come pick me up, he would move mountains and make sure everything got taken care of so it didn't happen again. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a very my college best friend lives in California. I haven't seen her in, I don't know, Patty, if you're listening, I don't know, 10 years. Oops. That wasn't her. Oops. 10 years. And we have rekindled that relationship. And there's something about having that relationship rekindled. It brings me back to me. It brings me back to, like, we remember the same things. We have similar interests when it comes to those things. I'm here to say it's important that we have these intimate relationships.
I agree.
I just think that it's just not enough. It's great to have friends all over the world and in Facebook and all the social media, but it's something different. We're more exposed. Okay, there's more of a mirror. Okay, here, wait, whoa. Okay, there's a mirror with a friend that you don't get when you're talking through the computer or, in any other social media, computer, phone. There's a mirror. There's more of you're more transparent when we have with our relationships that are intimate, close, face-to-face relationships.
It's true. You can tell if I take care of my feet or not. I mean, for example, right? You can't see that here. You don't know. You're not able to hold my hands or find out if I have smooth skin or not.
No.
Whether my kitchen is clean.
No.
Or my car is clean.
No.
Right?
We can hide.
Yes, you have a very good point.
Yeah, we can hide. And I believe that we can't afford to hide anymore.
No, we can't. Mm-mm. We have a responsibility to figure out and learn to change. It makes me think of the 5 love languages. It's interesting. Have you read those books, Marilyn?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And, they have them for all ages. And I guess for young ones, we don't start developing a primary love language until we're like 8 to 10. And though for everybody else in the world that's 8 to 10 or older, we can really quickly find out, are we compatible with somebody by being able to go, can I make this person feel appreciated in the way that they would be fulfilled by being appreciated?
Right.
I could still be their friend. I just know I can't be the everything friend.
Right.
Or the intimate friend.
Right.
And that might be, I'm just, thinking out loud and going across this mirror piece. Oh, yeah. Right. Now, my husband and I have very different love languages.
Well,
but you guys,
opposites attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opposites attract. So here's some more things to ponder.
Okay.
When you're hiding, with acquaintances, they don't see you at your best, at your worst, at your maybes, at your thises, at your that's. They don't see you that way. And part of evolving and expressing who you are and comfort with who you are is being who you are all the time and getting comfortable with that. And it's not on your best behavior. Best friends are there and love you when you're not on your best behavior.
And I would say, as do our significant others.
As do our significant others.
They may know even more than our best friends know.
Right.
If I were to just be told.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I was not in the best of moods. I've been moody lately. I've been emotional and moody, and I'm aware of it, and I don't like it. But I'm working through it, because I said to people recently, if you always, you say to me, "How you doing, Marilyn?" Usually I'm great. And I'll say, I'm great. Things are good. I'm happy. Things are great. For the most part, there's nothing that was so bad that would take me off of saying I'm good or I'm great until this last week or two. I'm just not feeling it all the time. And I'm being real about it, which for me or anybody is a good thing. And I wasn't in a great mood yesterday. And I said something to my husband about it. And that was good. It's good. It feels really good to be real. And not that I'm not real. I'm always real. This is a new real, because I'm not normally uncomfortable and feeling kind of mopey.
Right.
And so here I am telling everybody.
Well, we got to talk about it.
But we got to talk about it. Yes.
Why? I mean, no, I think we must.
Yeah,
I think that's one of those musts, because we're not alone and we all have those.
Yes.
And if we don't feel like we can be real, I'm going to use the word that you used. If we can't be real and say, everything is just off kilter today, or everything clunks into place after I'm done with it, or, it didn't matter. Every single piece of clothing I put on, it didn't fit right today, and I'm grouchy about it. Okay. People don't know what to do in those situations. And I think that goes back to, we've moved away from the basics, and we don't have somebody to mirror. And when we are being real in this way, we are a great role model for somebody else who's trying to figure that out.
Absolutely. I come here honestly, authentically, honestly, truthfully. I make blunders. I say wrong words. I do things that are not, politically correct.
Yeah.
I've gotten in trouble, but you can always count on me to be honest and getting into trouble. I say, let's make those friends. Let's expose ourselves. Let's get real. Let's do the work of the heart that connects us to other people, when we're there for them and they're there for us. Jess?
There's something bumping around between my ears. Speaking of, just sometimes it's clumsy. So here I'm like, yeah, this thing is not quite ready to come out yet. I'm going to be clumsy about saying it, and it'll either come or it won't come. I like the work of the heart. And remember, I said at the beginning, this was hardcore. It's hardcore because we went straight into the center of heart. And it's also hard because there are so many things that we don't know, that we have to re-figure out, that may have been forgotten, traditions that may have been deemed unnecessary, that we have to rediscover, re-find. Being an anthropologist of sorts, really, for ourselves and for others. Oh, I brought a show and tell. You want to see my show and tell?
Sure.
So I did this exercise one day at a workshop, and this was a thing where she gave us a whole bunch of sheets of words, and she said, "I want you to write down all the words that describe you." And I made this heart. I'm trying to find the center of my thing, and put all the words that described me on here. And then I actually keep this in my closet. So Stephanie, if you're listening, Stephanie Schoolmeister, this was from your workshop, my dear. And when I'm having a bad day, or I don't feel really good, or for whatever reason, people around me are trying to cheer me up, and I'm just like, who are you? And why do I need to be cheered up? And then it's like, oh, right, I need to be cheered up. I don't necessarily need to be cheered up. I need fulfillment. I need a little bit of what you were talking about in that first quote that you shared by Steve somebody about nourishment for the soul.
Right.
And I pull this out and I'm like, look, this is what people tell me about me. Look, this is what I think about me. And what? And then I'll ask myself, what did I do that was bold? What did I do that was brave? What did I do that was quirky? And use it to just replenish myself when somebody else isn't there, or the people that are there aren't as nourishing as I need them to be, right? It's like watering a plant without vitamins sometimes.
That's it. Well, and we it's good to have friends, really good close friends that can do that. And here's one thing I do want to mention, which clean up the ones that need cleaning up.
Beautiful.
Go back in there to the people who love you the most, that you love the most, that you really still have great feeling for, and clean up those relationships, those friends that you have that have known you since you were 2, that you were, friends in college, or that maybe you drifted because of this, that, the other thing. Go back. It's so rewarding. It feels so good. So we only have a few minutes left, Jess. Tell everybody just about a little bit bodacious marketing for you. And don't go away because we're going to finish up, but go ahead and just tell everybody like where they would find you and what they would find.
Absolutely. The easiest, most direct place is to just Google Jess Dewell, Dewell, and you'll find all kinds of things about me. Because being online I'm not shy about that, as Marilyn knows. In addition to being the host of the Voice of Bold Business Radio, where we talk about tenacity and building relationships and doing things that are bold and right, even though they might not be popular. I also host a women's leadership roundtable that has a virtual capacity to it, which is really neat. So not only the women here in Denver get to benefit from this, we can also benefit from this in an online digital format where we talk about topics like this and how it affects our leadership and the difference between leading and leadership, and that it all comes down to what we model and how we model it to ourselves and others.
So this seems like, you were talking about friends, talking about friendship. What's she spending this whole time doing it for? Because of all the things that we go through, because being mothers, being fathers, being the best we can be at everything we can be, friends are a way for us to live that bestness. I mean, friends are a way for us to show our real self, experiment, be vulnerable. That's where we can be that. Friends love us. They love us, right?
And we're all human.
So
we all want the best in everybody around us. And until we can embrace the best and not only help ourselves, but help others be their best, we really aren't even doing our job as whatever roles we have and that we've accepted.
Yeah. And to be free, friendships are a huge element of that freedom and makes life real. So reach out, clean up those relationships, make new friends, welcome people into your life, welcome people into your heart. It's really important. And will you show my book? My book is going to have a friend soon.
Yes.
It's on Amazon. In Just One Afternoon, Listening to the Hearts of Men, all about great, brave men who are opening up their heart. Great stories, all authentic and real and raw, because they wrote it, I didn't. But it's going to have a friend soon. It's going to have In Just One Afternoon, Listening to the Hearts of Twins very, very soon. It's getting sooner and sooner. I'm going to tell you what, it is not easy writing a book. So, but anyway, it's fun, and it's going to be too exciting. All right. So in our final word, any final word from you, Jess, about what we've been talking about?
I might be taking too long.
Go ahead. Final word.
A final word?
Yeah, final sentence, final word, final concept.
Mm-hmm. Empathy can only come from intimate, close, vulnerable relationships where we can set aside what we know and we think and listen from the perspective of what somebody else knows and what somebody else thinks.
Good.
That's
perfect.
What I would say.
And I'd say forgiveness for yourself is a key factor and others in developing these intimate, close relationships we call friends. Best friends, intimate relationships. Go have some. Experiment. Love people. And Get in touch with me anytime you want at Marilyn@MarilynShannon.com. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank Jess for coming in today and talking about this crazy subject. Mwah! Love you, Jess.
Mwah! I love you too, Marilyn.
Thank you, and Amnon, thank you as always. And everybody out there, bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.